Shalom Aleichem, everyone. Sorry for the late Fabrengen this week, but it's better late than never. First of all, as always, l'chaim and all the brachas for everyone in everything they may need. Yeshuas, refuos, hatzlachos, ashiros, muflaga, parnasa, barchava. And the main thing is we should have this galus of Melech HaMashiach immediately. He should take us out of galus to the third base of Mikdash right now. And a refuah shalema for Ephraim ben Shena, and a refuah shalema for Mordechai Dov Berakoyin ben Chana. This week we have an extra one of the four Parshas, Parshas Para. Because it's close to Pesach, we read the Parsha of the Para Aduma. There's a very interesting statement in the Yerushalmi from Rebban that he says that the four Parshas are just like the four kaises of Pesach. Just like in the four kaises of Pesach, you could interrupt between the first and the second kais, between the second and the third kais, sometimes there's interruption. Between the third and the fourth kais, you never interrupt. And the same thing says Rabban when it comes to between Shkalim and Zachar, there's always a Shabbos in between. Between Zachar and Para, sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Between Para and Achedesh, Ein Mafsikin Lailam, we never interrupt. And the Rebbe explains why. Because the idea of Para is Tara, purification. And through that we go immediately to Achedesh Hazel Lachem, which is the idea of Gula. What's so special about this idea of Para Aduma? What's it all about? There's a very interesting medrash that's brought down in Chassidus. That when the Eibishter told Moshe Rabbeinu, Parshas Shmini was the Parsha of the different things of Tumah and Tara. When the Eibishter reached the mitzvah or the concept of Tumas Meis, Niskarkimu Panav Shel Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu's face became red like a radish. Moshe Rabbeinu's face became red and he said, Bameh Tiyeh Taraseh Shel Zeh. How will this one be purified? And the Eibishter didn't answer him until it came to Parshas Chukas, and then the Eibishter said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Zois Chukas HaTorah, you asked the question, how is the purification of Tumas Meis? Zois Chukas HaTorah. What is this all about? So we'll say a story, a very interesting story that I heard when I was in Eretz Yisrael, from the Bachrim who went to the Rebbe for Tishrei. Must have been the year Tavshin Memches or Memtes. The Bachrim went to the Rebbe for Tishrei. When they came back, they had this story. That the Bachrim were on the plane, on the airplane, flying from Eretz Yisrael. And of course, Lubavitcher Bachrim, and of course, especially when they're flying, when they're going to the Rebbe, they're doing Mivtzoim. They went around, put on tefillin with Jews. And there was one Jew on the plane who was sitting near the Bachrim, and they spoke to him, and he was a very nice guy, etc., but he refused to put on tefillin. And he explained to them, I'm leaving Eretz Yisrael now in order to get involved in all kinds of things which are the worst things in the world, the worst type of tumah in the world. I'm running away from religion, I'm running away from anything that has to do with Kedusha, with Elokus. Why should I put on tefillin? But they still had discussion over throughout the plane. They spoke about various things, and finally, before they landed, they managed to get a promise from him. He promised them that he would come one time to see the Rebbe. Now the Bachrim knew that if they didn't make sure that he does good on his promise immediately, then it will not happen. So as soon as they arrived, as soon as they landed in JFK, they took him with his paklach, and they took immediately a taxi to 770. And this was apparently during Aseret Yimei Tshuva, and the Rebbe was giving out lekach. To their luck, that's what was happening at the time. The Rebbe was giving out lekach. Now, for those who remember, it was long lines lines that went all through 770, down the stairs, out the door, down Eastern Parkway till Brooklyn and up Brooklyn and down Union. The lines were very long lines. But also it wasn't just one line, there were different lines, there was groups, there was this, there was that, and they're waiting for hours, and every time there's this and that happening. For hours he's standing in line and waiting. And as everyone knows, the Rebbe is taking a piece of lekach, and the Rebbe picks it up and puts it in the person's hands, says L'shana Tevel Misuka, and for a second the Rebbe looks into the eyes and goes on to the next person. This person is waiting for hours, but he had promised, he's waiting, and finally it comes his turn. And he walks by the Rebbe, and the Rebbe holds the lekach in his hands, and the Rebbe is about to put it into the person's outstretched hand. The Rebbe pulls back the piece of lekach, looks for a split second, or for 3 seconds, whatever it is, into the person's eyes, and then puts back the lekach in his hands and says, L'shana Tevu Misuka. That split second broke something inside him, and he started to cry, and he stayed there for the rest of the time. He was crying, and he stayed the entire Tishrei by the Rebbe, and of course he connected and came and started keeping Yiddishkeit, etc. This story is an amazing story. It's a story of someone who was in the depths of Klippa. And yet that one look of the Rebbe, of the Moshe Rabbeinu, the one look broke that Klippa and pulled him out from the depths of the Klippa. And this is exactly the meaning of what the Medrash is saying. Moshe Rabbeinu knows that his mission is to help every Jew. Moshe Rabbeinu is there as his being, is to help even those, and like Moshe Rabbeinu was tested with sheep. What does it mean, tested with sheep? Moshe Rabbeinu was the shepherd, and when one sick sheep who refused to eat and ran away, and Moshe Rabbeinu leaves all the hundreds of sheep behind and runs after this one single sheep in order to bring it back and to feed it what it needed. Moshe Rabbeinu, he has hundreds of sheep to deal with. Forget this one rebellious sick sheep. That's not Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's exactly the way it worked. In Moshe Rabbeinu knows that my mission is to help every Jew, even one who's tumah, far away from Elokus, to help him and to bring him back to Elokus. When it came Tumas Meis is the worst type of tumah. Tumas Meis, Elokus is life. Alive. Tumas Meis means a person's dead. He doesn't care. He's stoned. He doesn't have anything in him. He doesn't care about anything anymore. Apathetic. Where does he get his fire from? And Moshe Rabbeinu says, how can I possibly bring such a person back? And Niskarkim upanav shel Moshe, because Moshe Rabbeinu knew that's my mission. My mission is to find this person who's Tamei Mason, to bring him back to the Eibishter. And the truth is, when was Moshe Rabbeinu looking at specifically? We know we're starting Parshas Tzav. Tzav is Aaron v'ezbon of Lamer. Tzav is Lashon Zirus. Miyadu l'doira. Tzav means connection. Connection now, start now, but go forever for all generations. Specifically, L'dor, the final generation, the generation of the Ikvis of the Mashiach, of the footsteps of the heels of Mashiach. The time when there's a need for Trumas Hadesh and for taking off, removing the ashes from all the things that happen over the generation, and specifically the toughest test of al yevish b'fnei amaligim, of not being ashamed from those who mock someone who's connecting to the Eibishter. And Moshe Rabbeinu knew that in that final generation, there's going to be a situation of tumas meis, of apathy, of lack of caring, of saying, I don't care about connecting to Lakus. How can I re-inspire? How can I relight Eisha Mizbeach Tukad Boy? How can I relight the fire of the Mizbeach in this person? And that's why Niskarkem Upanav Shel Moshe, because he knew this is my mission, this is my job. And the Eibishter said, wait, I'm not even going to give you an answer right away. When it came to Parshas Chukas, Parshas Para, the Eibishter said, Zoi Chukas HaTorah. This is a chukah. It's engraved. It's in the essence of every Jew. The essence of every Jew is connected regardless how. And that's why who's going to be Daber El Bnei Yisrael V'yikchu Eilecha La'olam Yinikris Al Shmecha Paraduma is always called in the name of Moshe Rabbeinu. Because it's the Moshe Rabbeinu and the Moshe of every generation that gives that power to take the Jew who could be in the furthest place, who could be Tumas Mason, to reconnect him, to pull him out and to reconnect him with his essence, with who he is. And when that happens, there is not even an interruption. Immediately after that, there comes a Chodesh Hazel Lachem. From there, we come immediately to Gula, because Gula is redemption, taking out the Shechina, taking out Knesset Yisrael, taking out the general Kedusha from Galus and bringing and reconnecting with the Lakus. The moment that there's the Para Aduma, something which doesn't make sense. There's no way of explaining it, there's no way of understanding it, because it's the essence of what we're all about. And this is what we have, and this is what we have to take now. We have to connect to Moshe Rabbeinu. We're in the days of preparation to Yud Aleph Nisan. We have to connect to Moshe Rabbeinu in a way which is higher than understanding. It doesn't matter who's mocking, who's the maligim, how anyone around us or next to us or within us is mocking. We connected, and we are going to connect and connect ourselves and connect others regardless of who they are to Moshe Rabbeinu by bringing out the etzem which is above understanding. And as a result, the Eibishter will give us the brachas, like we're coming from the week of Purim, of Ad Belo Yada, brachas that are beyond knowledge, brachas that aren't limited in a knowledgeable and an understandable way. We're going to start and begin and connect, and through even the beginning of connecting, we're going to come immediately to a Chodesh Hazel Lachem Reish Chadashim, to the ultimate, the Gula Amitis Vashlema, immediately. And the building of the Beis HaMikdash, when the Eibishter says, Machai Emche Zecher Amalek, the Eibishter himself will get rid of Amalek in a way that is beyond understanding. And we will all be gathered together in Eretz Yisrael Ashlema, in the complete Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim Irakoidesh Ir Shechubra Lo Yachtav, in the holy city of Yerushalayim, in the third Beis HaMikdash, immediately. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos.